Okay, here we are. This is Friday morning. I think it's Good Friday, April 22nd. Friday morning. Most of the beams are gone. I left the one up on that end of the stub wall there just to keep things stable until I move that wall, until I reduce the top part of it, the load up there, just to help keep it stabilized. And I got one more over here that needs to come out eventually. That may stay for a while. We'll have to wait and see. But lighting has improved dramatically. I was real worried about the amount of light I had in here in the evenings with all those dark beams that were here. They really absorbed a lot of the light. But now, with the majority of them gone, it changed quite a bit. In the evening when we don't have the sunlight. Right now this is just sunlight in here. I don't have any lights on at all. But in the evenings when there's no sun, the lights do pretty well. We did go out yesterday and I picked up the track lighting to install up on the beams up there. That far chocolate covered beam up there is going to have a fan on it. Then this one, the second one there, is going to have 2 sets of track lighting, and then the third one, this one here, is also going to have 2 sets of track lighting, and they're going to be controlled by a switch over by the sink, and those are going to be aimed at the countertops to illuminate the countertops. But you can really start to see the difference in the room when you stand back and look at when we take that wall out and push that whole cabinet and counter system back. It's going to go back a full 3 foot. So in effect it's going to make the kitchen 3 feet wider. So, but opening it up, removing the beams really gave you a view of what we're going to have in the end. It's going to be pretty spectacular, I think. The ends, both ends have the beams, and we've talked about it before, but this one here I'm going to box in to provide a conduit for all this wiring. I still got a lot of wiring to do, and that's going to be most of today is going to be wiring, I think. Try and cut all this stuff up and clean it up and reroute it and different things like that. Right now I don't even have power going to the oven or anything like that, so I got a lot to do on the wiring today. But when I box this thing in, it's going to be boxed in such a way that we're going to build a shelf up there. It's probably going to be a 2x10, and it's going to go full width of the room, and it's going to have a shelf up there. So eventually I'll be able to have, I need to put an outlet up there and a couple other things, but eventually I plan on having a stereo system up there. And then on the other end of the room, where that beam is up there, I've got to splice in a new beam there to repair the damage from decades and decades ago. I think originally there was a chimney system right there that cut through. That's why the beam's cut there. And then underneath the window there's a lot of rot in the beam, so I want to cut it out and splice a new one in. And then I'm going to box that one in and put a shelf on it to match the other end. So that'll give the room some symmetry. But I got a lot of the wiring done in the last 2 days. A lot of it's been fixed up already, but I still have quite a bit to go on the wiring. This will be a new 220 feed for the oven. I couldn't believe it, but I did the math yesterday, and the oven only requires 12 amps. 12.8 I believe it was. And I had somebody else check it for me just to make sure, but 12 gauge is more than adequate wire for it. I would have never believed it, considering the size of the cable they've got going to the stove top, but that's a different situation. But apparently well, you can see it right here. This is the cable they've got going to the stove top. I'm not sure what that is, like maybe 8 gauge. But 12 gauge meets the requirement for the oven. So that's, today is going to be wiring, continue with the wiring. And I've got most of that under control now. It looks disorganized, but really, I do have a plan for it. Continue with the wiring, and then get up there somehow and hook up these lights that I bought, these track lights, and they're well, laying out right here. There's one of them right here, and this is what they look like. They're 50 watts each, and they're directional, so I can. The plan is to have. They come with three light assemblies per track section. There's going to be 4 track sections total. I'm probably only going to use 2 of the lights on each one. I don't think we need that much light, but I'll have them in case I want to put them back on. But there's going to be they're going to be connected. They're going to be dead center on that beam up there, and then the one straight above me. The ones that are going to be on the right hand side of the beam will be angled to the left, shooting at that counter, and then the ones over there will be angled down to the right, shooting at this counter basically. So it'll get any areas that are shaded is the effect. I really do not like under the counter lighting. It's a pain in the butt to work on. It's a pain in the butt to wire, and that's what she wanted, and it was we went round and round on it, but I really do not care for it. I think this is a better way. They'll all be controlled by one switch right over here. That'll turn them on and off. Besides the big lights, the big lights are all compact fluorescents, so they don't draw a lot of power. But they're not instant either. You know, they take a minute to warm up. But these are halogens, 50 watts each, so there's going to be 2, 4, 6, 8 of those. So that's going to be the equivalent of what, 400 watt light bulbs up there. But they're very directional, so I can control them to point right at the counters. So that's going to be the idea anyway. Still got a long way to go, but we're getting closer to ending for the year. Once I get the wiring under control, I'm going to close up some of these openings with the insulation, or lack of insulation. That's the entryway out there, and there's no insulation at all on that ceiling of the entryway, and there's no insulation in this wall right here between the entryway and the kitchen. So that entryway, when the sun hits it, gets, you know, to 120 degrees in there or whatever, and then it radiates right through that wall. So I got to work on that stuff some, and all the way across that wall, the whole length of it, all the way back to the pantry, basically, inside the stairwell there. And it was that way all the way across here. I did get up there inside the stairwell where I could reach at. I stuffed insulation back down in there. So I need to continue doing that and close that wall up as much as I can and get it ready for the summer. Close up the wiring and get the rest of these little cubby holes insulated and stuff like that. I may or may not throw some sheetrock up there this year. I'm not sure. It depends on how time goes. I need to get in the garage and spend some time out there. But that's where we're at.